If you are on a skilled worker visa and if you want permanent residency, you need to spend minimum 5 years in the UK to qualify for permanent residency settlement. Hi, I want to cover about indefinite leave to remain, which is permanent residency, also known as settlement if you are on a skilled worker visa. So I do a lot of consultations every week, and of course my colleague DNRC also does a lot of consultations, and we do get repeat question, and we charge £300 plus VAT up to 60 minutes for this consultation. So I thought, why don't I just cover these FAQs, frequently asked question, in a video which is for free to the audience, likewise yourself. So few points to note: if you are on a skilled worker visa and if you want permanent residency, you need to spend minimum 5 years in the UK to qualify for permanent residency settlement. You are allowed up to 180 days in a year as an absence outside the UK, i.e. you ought to spend at least 186 days in the UK to qualify for permanent residency. Same time, you will be required to do life in the UK test, and most likely you will meet the English language requirement because you would have met that English language requirement at the time of your skilled worker visa. When you apply for ILR, your employer has to write a letter that they need you in the business for foreseeable future, and you are being paid appropriate rate salary as per the SOC code, which is a technical word of your job role. So there is a minimum salary you got to be paid to get ILR in the UK, and that is all about it. And yeah, one more last thing: you should not have a criminal conviction which might be a hindrance to obtain your ILR. So these are like basic requirements, but let's get into little bit detail. So someone on ICT cannot qualify for ILR even today, which is now been replaced as a global mobility visa, but previously used to know as ICT, intra-company transfer visa. The time you have spent as ICT does not count towards the qualifying period of settlement, so that's an important point to note. But once you switch into skilled worker visa, then your clock for settlement starts for 5 years. I also had a question: if I switch my employers, would I continue with my country's lawful residence to qualify for ILR, or would that restart? The answer is no, it doesn't restart. So you can change multiple employers while you are on skilled worker visa, and if you combine that 5 years of period staying in the UK as a skilled worker in the UK with multiple employers, is perfectly fine. You can still qualify for ILR, indefinite leave to remain. So yes, the answer is yes, you can change employers in between. Only requirement is the new employer you are going to should of course sponsor you and provide you with COS, which is certificate of sponsorship, so you can have continuous skilled worker visa with the new employer. So yes, you are free to switch employers, but you got to get sponsorship from them. This was a very high profile clients who came to us working in a very, very important position in a very well known financial institution, and he said he has to go back to his home country because of the structure of the business, but he wishes to be in the UK for the betterment of his family, especially his daughter, because his daughter was studying in GCSE, and he said, "Oh, I want to make sure my daughter finishes her studies here. Is there any way I can get ILR?" This gentleman was on a skilled worker visa. He might be required to go home before he could qualify for ILR. He wanted to stay, so we did run a proper consultation with him, and the few options we came up with are as follow. Number one, I asked him if he could approach his employer and request him if his employment could be continued to obtain his ILR, of course with a foreseeable future. Of course you can't simply get ILR and then they decide you to go home. It cannot be possible, because one of the requirement of getting ILR is to get a letter that your job is there for foreseeable future, right? So that's one of the requirements. So bear in mind, you need this letter at the time of ILR. So if I said, look, could you negotiate your employment with your employer, and then it might work for you if you come to a mutually beneficial agreement, and then it'd be much easier. You continue with the employer end your employment and qualify for ILR. That's option 1. Option 2, I said, look, failing to do that, you might want to find an employer in the UK with sponsorship, because he's a high-profile manager and having like many years of experience. He's very skilled. There might be another employer who's looking for the similar skilled person. I said, look, if you find another employer where you can switch, then combination of your stay as a skilled worker with the employer A, and then combination part of your stay as a skilled worker with employer B, can help you apply for your ILR. So that was option 2. Failing to do that, option 3 was, from my point of view, is to switch into self-sponsorship if he has keen interest to run his own business, because he's very skilled, experienced within his domain. He did express an idea, said, look, I have ambition of starting my own business. I said, oh great, that's really great. Why don't we explore the option of self-sponsorship? So if you need more information around self-sponsorship, I did shoot few videos. Please do watch it on YouTube. You will definitely find, if you search self-sponsorship UK visa, you will find my video there definitely, or put my name there, Yash Dubal self-sponsorship. You will find it in Google as well as in YouTube, or on my website. Have a look. And that was third option. Number 4 is innovator visa. But the downside of innovator visa is the time you spent in the UK as skilled worker could not be considered towards ILR. So you have to start fresh. And again, the requirement of getting ILR with innovator visa is a bit stringent. So again, arrange a consultation with one of my lawyer if you want to understand a bit more. But that was option 4 for him, innovator visa. So that's all I could think of for option. He has his wife. His wife probably was looking to study. He said, oh, can she get student visa? I said, look, if she genuinely wants to study in the UK, she might switch into student visa. You can become dependent and then you can stay over. But then the option of getting settlement would be postponed or will be prolonged. So that was my advice. I hope that helps. If you are trying to switch from skilled worker visa to ILR, little bit more information, my experience share. Hope that makes sense and adds some value. If you like my video and content, please like this video, press the like button. It's just help us to spread this message, spread this knowledge at no cost to you, no cost to anybody else. It's just the free knowledge. This is how I want to add value, because I am very, very short on my time resource. This is how I want to add value, by creating video which can be watched by thousands of people, and it's worth around £200 to £300 an hour. Thank you so much for watching. All the very best. Please like, subscribe to my channel, and yeah, you might have some follow-up question. If you drop me question, if I get 10 questions, then I will prepare a follow-up video with those 10 FAQs, just in line with what we are talking about ILR. Thank you so much. All the very best. Thank you. Bye-bye.